Alright guys, so here we are for part number 27 of the F1 2014 Career Mode Championship. This is Silverstone and this is our home race for McLaren, so we'll be looking to do well at this racetrack. We've won 2 of the last 3 races so far, so we're looking good in terms of form. Just got a little bit screwed over in the rain at Austria, but here we are in Silverstone. We have a wet session here for Q3, so we'll be trying to, I guess, negotiate these tricky conditions as best we can. But so far not looking good. We're P9 after doing our banker lap, and now this is our final run here in qualifying. 3 laps of fuel and a fresh set of intermediates are on the car now. We've got something like 7 or 8 tenths to find, so it's going to be tough. I'm looking to at least maybe be around that top 5, and I should be in with a shout of challenging the 2 Mercedes cars. So here we go, coming to the end of our lap now. We'll see where we end up in this session. It's 7th place, so 7 tenths back, not too bad. I should also add that Jules Bianchi made it to Q3 somehow. Max Chilton also made it to Q2, so very interesting set of circumstances went down in the wet. But now the race is going to be dry, and it should be pretty interesting because we don't exactly know where everyone stands in terms of dry pace. We know where they stand in the wet, but it could completely change here in the dry. So I'm looking forward to this race start here. So here we are on the grid of Silverstone. Home race for McLaren. As I said, we're now building to those 5 red lights. Hopefully a good start awaits. And away we go here in Silverstone. It looks like a little bit of wheel spin off the start, but it doesn't hurt us too much as we only lose 1 place to Bottas there. We'll try and go around the outside of him through turn 1. Ricciardo sort of blocking our run as Button gets slowed up by him as well. So the Australian driver not seen in the best eyes in terms of McLaren, but we undercut him there and go around the outside of Vettel now as he sort of got held up by Hamilton in the previous corner. But now this has been a fantastic start now into the podium positions. We're only done with 1 sector of this entire Grand Prix. We can see there's a challenge for the lead between Hamilton and Rosberg, and Hamilton gets the move done around the outside of Rosberg. He sort of broke early, probably didn't want to make contact with his teammate, so Rosberg playing it safe there, and he's dropped down to P2. But in doing that, he's sort of lost a bit of ground to the leader, and he might be vulnerable to us if we could just get a little bit closer to him. We can see Vettel is still right behind us in P4. Jensen, it's a bit of a shame to see him get off to a bad start, but hopefully he can pick his way through the field. The McLaren, I must say guys, is getting quicker and quicker as the season goes on, but so far going through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel for the first time. This is the first time in a while I've dealt with 100% fuel, so it's giving me a little bit of understeer, but so far we're in the slipstream of Rosberg, and around the outside we go into P2. Now next up is the race leader, our championship rival, Lewis Hamilton. What can we do in response? We're going to put it up into fast, try and burn as much fuel as we can to try and catch him. Lap 6, it's not worked out. He's 6 seconds up the road, and now Vettel has made his way up into P3. So what happened to Rosberg? He must not have much pace in this race for whatever reason, but Hamilton going fastest there on that previous clip there, so he's absolutely flying at the moment. He's about 1 second to 1.5 seconds quicker than me per lap, and that's just absolutely ridiculous at this early phase of the race. So it looks like Hamilton is just having another one of those days being super OP, but we're just going to try and maintain our 2nd place for now in this early first stint. We actually made our first mistake of the race there, getting a bit of wheel spin and oversteer at the same time, and that allowed Ricciardo now, who's in P2, to have a run at us around the outside. And it turns to the inside now for this right-hander, and no, he can't quite get the move done. We just have enough grip through the corners to sort of fight with the AI at the moment. It's just on the Exeter corners, the rear traction at some spots, like this corner here, and then leading up onto that first DRS straight. That's sort of where our trouble spots are at the moment, and that's where the AI have their best chance of getting past. So lap 12, we can see Fernando Alonso has now got up in a second, but we're going to try and go back up the inside if we can. Yes, we do. We lock up the inside front tyre there, but we get the move done. A little bit forceful, but I'll take that. As you can see on the replay, up the inside. I wouldn't dare brake any later than that because I might have just gone off the road as I locked up my front right tyre. It's pretty damn hard to lock up on this game anyway, so when you do it, you know you've gone in really hard and really deep, but oh, that sounded wrong. But either way, lap 15, we can see Daniel Ricciardo still on the back of us. I think we got past a Caterham who was getting lapped, so interesting to note. lap 15, we can see Fernando Alonso is now up into second place, so the AI behind me are sort of interchanging positions a lot as we go up the inside into the old turn 1, that's Copse, and apparently we caused a collision with Fernando Alonso. But as you can see on the replay, there was absolutely no contact made at all. So I don't know what Codemasters were thinking, or the stewards were thinking. As you can see, I'm showing you in a replay in slow-mo, just to show that there was no contact made at all. We made a late dive to the inside. It wasn't really a dive, it was just a move to the inside, and then we got up the inside and back up into P2. I think it was a fairly decent move, if I must say. But either way, this is the end of lap 15 now. I think Alonso is still behind us. He's in the mirrors. Here he comes with the help of DRS. He's dragging on the 2 Red Bulls as well. So there's a bit of a train forming behind us. No, that's a Force India behind a Red Bull, but we're going side by side with Alonso now. But he maintains second place around the outside into Stowe, I believe it is. So at this stage, the tyres are now starting to go off pretty dramatically. We're only 1 lap away from making our pit stop, so that's why we're losing a lot of time here. I'm just trying to make it to my recommended pit stop window. But so far in the early phase of this race, I feel like I have been faster than the cars behind me. It's just in the wrong places. But now, well and truly, the tyres have gone off, and now I'm sort of a sitting duck as we go back up the inside of Ricciardo. Sort of a counter-attacking move. I like doing that sometimes. Now finally some reprieve. I can come in on lap 16 for a new set of tyres. We're going to go onto the primes now, and this should see us for most of the race. I think we're going to come in on like lap 37, 38 or something like that. So primes for this middle stint. Some cars are going to go to the options, so different strategies at play here. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out for the majority of the field, but we can't manage to jump Alonso as Vettel sets a 136.5. Very quick pace at the moment. I actually think it's because he came into the pits on this lap. For whatever reason, there's some kind of glitch with the game, and because the pit speed is so fast, you can actually gain time by coming into the pits. So effectively, you set your fastest lap coming into the pits, and say if we were following Alonso and this is the final lap, for example, we come into the pits, we could effectively gain a position and win the race effectively by doing that. But you guys would absolutely kill me if I exploited a glitch like that. But lap 18, we found our pace again because we got fresh tyres, and we've just smashed past Alonso now. So now the charge starts for Lewis Hamilton. He's about 25 seconds up the road, I want to say. We lost a lot of time in that middle stint, or the first stint rather. But now this middle stint, I got into a really good groove here. I was just pumping out the lap times, very, very consistent. There was hardly a corner where I even missed an apex. For whatever reason, I was just really in the groove through this middle stint, and it really allowed me to, it really cemented my position, if that makes sense. So we managed to maintain the gap to Alonso by about 2 or 3 seconds, and then finally Rosberg found some pace, and he got up into third. So now Rosberg is chasing us down. We've now caught up to the back of Ericsson, who holds us up quite a bit. And now for the first time in about 13 or 14 laps, we've finally seen another car full position. And now this is Rosberg trying to pass us coming into turn 1. Is he going to get the move done though? He's on option tyres. That's why he's caught us. No, he backs out of it. So, yeah, only a couple laps away now from our pit stop. And that's why we're sort of looking a little bit vulnerable at this stage. So I think lap 35, 36, something like that will be coming in. Rosberg is on the option tyre. So he's literally just about to come in as well. So he's effectively going to get the undercut on us. We have to stay out for a few extra laps than that. And then we've got a set of option tyres to run to the end of the race. So effectively, we've got to chase Rosberg down once we make our pit stop here. But effectively, I've got to try and keep Rosberg behind me for as long as I can. That'll eventually help me out later on in the race as we go back around the outside of Rosberg there, who backs out of it into Copse. So bit of an annoying trait with the AI. Sometimes they just back out of it when they have the inside line. But now Rosberg has dived into the pits for his final pit stop of this race. Lap 32, we've got to stay out for another 2 or 3 laps now. We've got to push as much as we can now on dead tyres. Try and keep that gap as low as we can to Rosberg, because he will rejoin in front of us once we make our pit stop. And here we are, lap 35. It's our recommended pit stop window. I think maybe it's 1 lap early. I've come in for an undercut, I think. But yeah, going on to a set of options for the rest of the race. It's going to be a 17 lap stint. So slightly longer than the first stint, but effectively it should be a little bit easier because there's less fuel in the car, the track is a bit grippier, and because it's later in the day, the track temperature should be a little bit lower as well. So all these little things just add up to a slightly easier final stint, and that should result in better tyre wear. Hopefully we can get to the end of the race here. Alonso and a couple other cars have stayed out because they're on the prime tyres. They'll be coming in on the next lap. But rejoining on the track, it looks like we might actually jump Rosberg here. So what I think has happened, Rosberg has rejoined in traffic, and that's given us a 3 or 4 second lead now. And as you can see, lap 38 pushing as much as we can. We're now actually going purple, faster than Lewis Hamilton. We're cutting into his lead now, but he's 36 seconds up the road. That just shows how dominant he was in the first stint, and a little bit in the second. He only extended the lead by about 5 or 10 seconds in that stint once I lost the tyre wear, but overall, I think on genuine pace, I think we are faster than the Mercedes cars. It just comes down to that consistency in the tyre wear. So if I can just nail a perfect lap every time, then, you know, sometimes I can be faster than Mercedes. That's what I'm trying to say effectively, but it's going to be close at the end of the season. Our tyre wear is going to get better, and our pace should genuinely improve overall across most of the tracks at the end of the season, because the tyre wear is less of an issue. But this is our fastest lap here. I don't normally do this. I'm going to leave you guys to enjoy some of the game sounds for the rest of this lap and just listen to how much I'm pushing, trying to catch Hamilton. So there we go, that's the end of our lap, and that's the fastest lap of the Grand Prix we set. So on a very perfect lap, we can be faster than Lewis Hamilton and the 2 Mercedes cars. So after that stage, I sort of gave up on trying to push to catch Hamilton because he was just so far up the road. And then there we got sort of balked there by Jean-Eric Vergne, I think it was, on the apex. But here we go, final lap. We've come home in second place here, fairly easily in the end. And that's another solid 18 points at the team's home race.
Great race, just fantastic. 18 points.
Alright then, so second place in the British Grand Prix. 42 seconds the difference between us and Hamilton in the end. That looks a lot worse than what it was. I genuinely think we can be able to beat Hamilton in the remaining races this season. It's going to be pretty close between the two of us. In the end, we had a lot of decent battles there with Alonso. We had some with Vettel, Ricciardo, and then Nico Rosberg got involved for a little bit of that race as well. So very good race in terms of racing. Make sure you 360 no-scope that like button if you enjoyed this race. Yeah, Jensen ended up in P8, and we had one DNFer in the race as well, who was Kimi Räikkönen. In the drivers though, Lewis Hamilton has closed the gap to us, only 4 points behind us in the championship, so it's getting very close at this stage. I do think Hamilton is going to get the lead back, but then in a few races time we might have to chase him down, or I think we will chase him down for this championship. So that's been this episode for today, the British Grand Prix. Let me know who you think is going to win the championship, and until my next video guys, I'll see you next time. What the hell? Oh no! Are you serious? Well, that's this episode over of Online Lobbies. Thanks for watching. Feel free to send angry messages to that prick, and I'll see you in the next video.